Welcome to Resume Well. And she looks at me and says, "How do you get work done at home?" And I just replied, completely defeated, "I have no fucking clue." We're just always trying to catch up. And let me be clear, this isn't a failure on our part. This is, and I think we know this by now, but this is a systematic challenge and it requires a systematic solution. Hello and welcome to Resume Well. We are here for another solo episode today, and I'm very excited. I'm always excited for solo episodes, but I do want to say thank you for listening to any of the other episodes that you've listened to. Thank you so much. We very much appreciate your listenership and your feedback. And as always, please feel free to reach out on Instagram or LinkedIn or at my email, Courtney@resume-careers.com, to let us know if you have any topics that you want us to discuss or any episodes that you just really, really enjoyed. So stay tuned. We have a really, really cool episode today where we will disclose some very, very fun and exciting news. So settle in, get your coffee, get your tea, whatever it is, and put your headphones on, keep driving, do whatever you're doing, and get ready for a really good episode. So last week, and full disclosure, I definitely don't remember all of the logistical gymnastics that took place between work, picking my daughter up for her swim lesson, and, all of the other things. But long story short, I had to take my therapy appointment in my car. And let me tell you, this was definitely not the first time I've had to do that. And I know a lot of other women, mainly friends of mine, who have had to do the same thing. Or they're taking a Zoom call in their car, like a work call, or in their closet, which is a whole other level, right? And I mean, if there are any other podcasters listening or actors or singers, I know you've taken some kind of call or recorded something in your closet because of the acoustics and because it's quiet. No one can find you there. Nobody expects to find a mom like huddled in her closet on a phone call, right? Because it's ridiculous and it's silly, but that's where we're at. So here is my cheesy little line. Are you ready? What if I told you there was another way? But seriously, what if I told you there was another way? I always felt like I was trying to hide from my kids, and nobody told me how much hiding from your kids is involved in parenting. Or I was hiding from the Amazon guy, or I was just hiding from the dryer singing its stupid song that lasts forever when it's done. Thank you, Samsung. I don't know why that song is so long. But in any case, it just got way too intense. It got way too overbearing at home, and I was having a really hard time focusing. So cut to me sitting at Dandylight Yoga's little farm table that they have in their lounge. I was sitting there having a cup of coffee, and it was lovely. My daughter was eating something next to me, behaving, and she was being so wonderful, when another mom friend of mine, Sharon, approached me, and she said, and I will never forget the look in her eyes. Her eyes were filled to the brim with just like desperate curiosity. And she looks at me and says, "How do you get work done at home?" And I just replied, completely defeated, "I have no fucking clue." So with that, we set out on a quest to find a little place that we could co-rent. And we stumbled upon the most incredible place in our little city, Delray Beach, Florida. And the space is a little bit bigger than we were initially looking for. So we decided, why don't we open it up to other women who are in search of productivity, peace, and purpose, just like we were. So we opened Resume Here, which is an exclusive co-working studio in Delray Beach, Florida, just for women to resume their path with purpose, with peace of mind, and in a space that is designed for optimal productivity. So before, this starts to feel like a commercial for my space, I want to talk about co-working and why I think it's really important. Why co-working spaces are important for our current work situation. So let's talk about numbers. And not because we need validation for what we already know, but because sometimes it is really helpful to understand that we're just not alone in this challenge. According to McKinsey's 2023 Women in the Workplace report, 42% of women are reporting burnout. That's not surprising. Unfortunately, that's not surprising. And I'm not talking about being tired. I'm talking about a deep, persistent exhaustion. If you're driving, keep your hands on the wheel and mentally raise your hand if that's you. So about almost half of us are running on empty. That's not good. Here's another number that might hit home. 75% of working mothers report feeling guilty about their work-life balance. So 3 out of 4 of us are carrying around this invisible weight, constantly feeling like we're not doing enough at home and we're not doing enough at work, and we're really good at juggling. So that's great. We might look like we have it together, but at what cost, right? At what cost to our peace of mind? And then we end up taking our therapy calls in the car, right? Right? Okay, so if you've been working remotely, this one might sound familiar. 68% of women report regular interruptions while working from home. Cue Samsung and its dryer that doesn't stop singing when it's done. So just think about that. More than 2/3 of us are trying to maintain some professional composure while managing a household symphony of doorbell rings, barking dogs, and if your kids are at home when you're working, all of the knocks on the door and the "Mom, where are my socks? What can I have? I'm hungry. Where's Dad?" Boo. Here's the thing. These aren't just statistics. I wish that they were, but these are our daily lived experiences, and they're the reason why so many of us end up working late into the night when the house is finally quiet, or why we're answering emails while we're in car line picking up our kids, or, sitting an extra couple minutes after the veterinarian appointment with the dog panting in the back seat. We're just trying to catch up. We're just always trying to catch up. And let me be clear, this isn't a failure on our part. This is, and I think we know this by now, but this is a systematic challenge and it requires a systematic solution. And that's exactly why co-working spaces like Resume here aren't just nice to haves. They're very necessary. And I think they're very necessary, especially for women. I know men, this isn't like a I hate men episode. It's definitely not. My husband has the craziest work ethic I've ever witnessed. It's bananas. So this is not that. I just know from my own lived experience that it's just different as a mom and as a lady. It's just a little bit different. There are things that are expected of us that are not expected of men. And there's no way around that. That is just what it is. So because of this, because sometimes the most productive thing that we can do is just to step away from the chaos and into a space that's designed for focus. Sometimes that's the best thing we can do, is just step away into a space that is designed for focus and designed for us. So while we're on the topic of work from home, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or should I say the laptop on the kitchen table. The work from home revolution promised us so much. It promised us everything. No commute, sweatpants, and more control over our schedules. And yes, those things are amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. But here's where the little paradox kicks in. There's 3. I'm going to outline them for you. Number 1, freedom versus isolation. We got the freedom. We can work from anywhere, but now anywhere means everywhere. So Zoom call in your bedroom, midday meeting from your kitchen, late afternoon email session from your couch while giving your kids some snack with your left hand while on the phone with your right hand and looking at emails on your laptop that is actually on your lap, appropriately named. It's a lot. Your entire home has become your office, and believe it or not, studies have shown now, because we've been doing it for a while, about 4 years now, studies have shown that 65% of remote workers report feeling lonely or disconnected. Not surprising. Number 2 is flexibility versus lack of boundaries. So yes, we have a lot more flexibility. Sometimes it's really great to be able to pick your kid up early and before you were stuck at the office and you couldn't do that. So it's kind of nice to be able to take the call from the road or, whatever it is. But it's a slippery slope. Let's just say that, right? Because now all of a sudden the lines that have been blurred are gone. They're not blurred anymore. They just don't exist. And that is not optimal for mental health. And I'm not a mental health professional. That's let me legally say I'm not a mental health professional, right? But just from my own experience, I know that when the lines just completely disappeared, all of those all of those little tasks that were like just a quick check of emails, or that small little thing that you had to do, while your kid was showing you their little dance routine that they've been practicing so hard, just becomes like you're never fully there. You're just never fully present in anything. You're like kind of present in everything, but you're never fully present in anything. And that's not fair to you. It's not fair to your psyche. It's not fair to your family and your friends. And this isn't just for moms, but this is also just for anybody who is a caregiver, whether that's to your older parents, or maybe you're a nurse and all you do all day is care for people. And, when you come home, you just want to be able to, disconnect, but now you're on emails, or, there's just so much. There are just so many ways to get to us now. It's really, really hard to completely disconnect and connect to the thing that's in front of us, whether that is your peace, just quiet, or if it's your kid or your dog or your cat. So when your office is always just a few steps away, it becomes really, really, really difficult to just clock out mentally. Number 3, cost savings versus a need for a professional space. Sure, we're saving money on commutes. We're saving money on office clothes, but at what cost? First of all, some of us like getting dressed up. So some of us might miss that, right? But let's be honest. How many times have you had to mute yourself on a call because of background noise, whatever that noise is, or apologize for, your kid or your pet or your partner, ducking and like scooting by in the background? It's just like, and it's really, really difficult. And that is going to steal your focus, and it is going to affect your professional performance. It will. It does. So this is exactly why co-working spaces are really, really important, and why we created Resume here. The other thing is, one great aspect of going into the office, and I know a lot of people don't want to go into the office, but one really great aspect to it is the sense of community. And it is that knowing that you're going to see your work friends, and that ability to, bounce ideas off somebody, whether it has anything to do with a project that they're actually a part of, or just to brainstorm, just to get an idea out into the ether, right? And working from home takes that away. And sometimes, yes, it's great to have a day at home, but I really believe that having the knowledge and the expectation of being able to see certain people who you like every day makes work better. And there have been studies that show the main thing that keeps people at their job are the people that they work with. It's not the actual job. It's their friends that they make at work and their boss. So that's very important to know. I think that really underscores why going into a physical space to work not only ups your performance, but it ups your emotional performance. You're excited to go hang out and just have a water cooler talk for 5 minutes. I mean, I'm recording this the day after the election. How many people would like to go into their office and see that person that they've been talking about the election with up until it happened, just to get it out of their system so they can then focus on their work, right? I really, truly believe, and at Resume here, Sharon, my co-founder, and I, we really believe that you shouldn't have to choose between the flexibility of working from home and the focus of a professional space. You shouldn't have to choose between complete isolation and the option to have a friendly face to see every day at the office while you're working. You deserve both. A place where you can take that confidential call without worrying about who might overhear you, and a place where maybe you can record your podcast without your neighbor's lawnmower providing unwanted background noise, and a place where you know that you're going to go see somebody there, whether you're working together or not. You don't have to even be working at the same company, just your buddy that you want to go work around, because when you're working next to somebody who's working, guess what? You're more productive. That's been proven. You deserve a place where you can simply work and be and focus. And while we're on the topic of just work, right? Because that's why a lot of people go to co-working spaces. That sounds very obvious, right? But let's talk about the thing that most women have to justify in their careers: breaks. So let's talk about career breaks, or we can also just call them life intervals, because here's the reality. The straight line career path, largely a myth, especially for women. And the numbers, again, we don't need numbers to justify this, but they do tell a powerful story. According to McKinsey, 43% of women leave their careers at some point, not because they don't love their work. They do. They leave because life calls, whether it's caregiving responsibilities, personal health, or simply just the need to reset, rediscover, because we've been exhausting our nervous systems, working to rise up in a system that is specifically designed for men, not for women. And these breaks are a natural part of careers, and they are a natural part of a woman's professional journey. 100%. So here I'm just going to rattle off, because now I'm fired up. Here are some just eye-opening statistics for you. 1, nearly 2 million women left the workforce during the pandemic, creating what economists called a she session. On average, women spend 44% more time than men do on a career break because of family care. And this one really got me. 84% of professional women want to return to work after a career break, but only 40% successfully land corporate jobs. And women who take career breaks lose an average of about 37% of their earning power. The good news, this is like pretty dark and dim, but the good news is that 89% of companies have now implemented return to work programs, and they have reported that these are working, that these are really successful initiatives, and hopefully that will keep going. But here's what's really interesting. Research shows that women returning from career breaks, and believe it or not, I'm sure maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but women that return from a break often bring enhanced skills like improved time management, the ability to prioritize better, greater emotional intelligence, enhanced problem-solving skills, and increased adaptability. This is why we named our space Resume Here. Yes, I already had the podcast named Resume, and yes, my business was already called Resume, but we didn't have to name it anything to do with Resume. We could have named it something else, but we really like the idea of Resume Here because a pause isn't an end. It's often just a powerful catalyst for the next chapter. And whether your break was 2 months or 2 years, whether it was planned or unexpected, you should not have to apologize for it or feel like you're starting from scratch. Because you're not. You're not starting over. You're simply resuming. And sometimes all you need is the right space and community to help you press play again. So co-working isn't always just for people who have jobs. It could just be for the mom whose kid is at daycare 3 hours a day and they don't want to be in the house where all the chaos happens. They just need a separate environment, right? Or if you're retired, but you also just you miss the idea of going to a place and getting your computer work done. Co-working, do it, make some friends. And that actually, let me talk about that for a moment. So networking is great. And I think a lot of people or a lot of co-working spaces will use networking as a sales tactic, right? Like, come network, make friends, blah, blah, blah. Make friends though. That's a different thing than networking. Networking, everybody hates. I mean, I hate it. Everybody hates networking. Some people are really good at it and some people aren't. From my experience and my clients and my friends and family, I mean, like nobody's like, I cannot wait to go to this mixer tonight. I just can't wait. It's going to be so fun. Cheap Chardonnay, shitty cheese, no cheese is shitty, but cheap cheese. So there have been a lot of reports and studies that networking, yes, it can work. You can meet somebody, you can give a card to the right person, you can be in the right place at the right time at a networking event for sure. You can get your name out there. There are definitely benefits to it, don't get me wrong. But most of the best career opportunities that we are presented with or that we find ourselves presented with usually come from a friend. And it doesn't have to be, I don't mean like your best friend from childhood, although maybe that's true, but a friend who you maybe hired them for some reason. So let me give you an example because that might work a little bit better. But If you hired somebody to do some tech work for you and they ended up getting a job at a company, and like 5 years later, you still use them kind of freelance sometimes to do some social media stuff or whatnot. And 5 years later, you're like, I need a new job. And you guys are just talking because now you know each other. Now you're not friends. You might not hang out on a Friday night, but you know each other. That person is way more likely to mention an opening at their company than somebody that you meet at a wine and cheese networking event. Because they know you, they know that you're reliable, they know your character. And I cannot stress enough how physical spaces really help us to create acquaintances that turn into like work friendships. Work friendships are the thing that get you ahead, not networking. Networking is great, and there is a time and place for it. But co-working spaces where you can go and a space that is created for your values, right? That will attract other people who have the same values. So all of a sudden you find yourself, you're like in a space surrounded by other people who share the same values as you. So you're more likely to hit it off with them. You're more likely to make friendships. And then you're more likely to be able to have friendships that are looking out for you and know you from a professional vantage point, and will be way more likely to offer up opportunities to you than they would to LinkedIn first. Did you catch my drift? Cool. So that's why we started Resume Here. And let's just think about resume for a minute. Let's think about the word. As a noun, it's a document that supposedly captures our professional journey. But as a verb, to resume means to continue after an interruption, to pick up where you left off, to begin again. And that is exactly what we honor here. So maybe you stepped away to raise children like I did, or maybe you're caring for an aging parent, or perhaps you just took time off to travel, perhaps you took time off to travel. Good for you. Or to heal, or to simply just reset your nervous system after the shit we've been through since 2020, right? Maybe you pivoted industries, maybe you started a side hustle, or maybe you just completely reinvented yourself, or maybe you're in the middle of a break and you need a space to clear your head and figure out where you're going to go next. Here's what we want you to know. Every pause, every pivot, every apparent interruption is not a career break. It's a career catalyst. And that is why we're called Resume Here. Because you're here, whether you're returning after a decade-long break, or you're pivoting to a new industry, or you're just seeking a fresh start, this is your invitation to continue your story, not from scratch, but from exactly where you are, with all of the wisdom, experience, and the perspective that you've gained along the way. Because here's the truth. Your path doesn't need to be linear to be legitimate. And whatever chapter you're in, you can resume here. Let me break down exactly what Resume Here is and what makes it unique. And if you're not in the Delray Beach area, maybe we'll open one near you. So if this sounds really cool, please DM me and let me know if this sounds like something that you'd be interested in having in your town or city. So Resume Here is a woman-specific design and understanding, right? So it's a space that's inherently understanding of the juggle because it was built for it. And it's thoughtfully designed for that. We have a professional content creation suite with professional grade podcast equipment. Obviously, that's what I'm recording on right now. You can use the same equipment as me. And by the way, it has really good lighting, because we all know that trying to get good lighting in our homes is impossible. Soundproofed spaces that double as a private call room. So you don't need to have like a podcast or be an influencer to come and use the podcast room. You can simply use it for your Zoom call if you don't want to have that like blurred out background, right? Like your bed blurred out. Yeah. Community and connection. This is what I was talking about before. Surrounded by women who understand your journey. Organic networking opportunities. I'm going to call it networking, but that's what I'm talking about. It's more organic. Yes, it's still kind of networking, but you're already around like-minded people, so you're already more likely to be friends. You just haven't met each other yet. Regular community events that actually fit into your schedule, and a judgment-free zone where whatever chapter you're in, you're good here. Right now, and this is a very exciting part, right now we're offering something super, super special for our founding members because we believe in investing in women who invest in themselves. So our founding members will receive 15% off all of our Workday packages. And what gets even better is we're not just offering a workspace. We understand that resuming your journey sometimes needs a little extra support, which is why our founding members are also going to receive 15% off our career wellness coaching package. This is a comprehensive package and it includes professional career coaching to help you clarify your path and maximize your potential, well-being coaching to help you maintain balance, mindfulness coaching because sometimes the best way forward is to be present, which can also include yoga, private yoga sessions. Think of this as like your personal board of directors, combined with a sanctuary for both your work and your well-being, because your career shouldn't just be about what you do. It should be about how you thrive while doing it. This founding member offer is limited, not because we're trying to create artificial scarcity, but because we actually really just want to build a core community of women who will help to start to shape what Resume Here becomes. Women who understand that success doesn't have to mean sacrifice and that community doesn't have to mean compromise. If you're curious about Resume Here, please check out our website, resume-here.com, or if you're local, stop by. We're located in the super cool Delray Design District, which is near Goat Cafe, a new yoga studio called Within Yoga, and the new wellness hub, New Path, which is beautiful. So thank you for listening. Please, 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 please subscribe. Please share this episode. The more downloads we get, the more we can record. And I love this. I love being able to share whatever wisdom I have with you and to hear your input and to hear what you guys want to hear about. I really am just grateful to have this little tiny platform of mine and for anybody to listen to me. So thank you so much. I hope that I'm helpful. And again, please feel free to DM me with topics that you want to hear about. Or if you have a guest suggestion, please DM me. Just let me know if you have anybody who has had a really interesting career or is in an industry that you are interested in learning more about. DM me, let me know. And if you are in Delray, we are officially opening on November 7th. And after that, you are free to come in, ask us about our Workday packages, or if you are interested in the podcast studio, or if you want to rent the space out for a small gathering. So thank you so much for listening. Please follow us at Courtney Austin Page on Instagram and on LinkedIn, Courtney Page, and Resume Careers. And remember, subscribe, share, and like. Thank you so much. I can't wait to resume your path with you.